guys! It is currently 5:09 p.m. It's taken me all day to work up the guts to make this video. I know that there are painters outside who can probably hear everything I'm saying. Anyway, so under last week's video, I do want to acknowledge that I am seeing a lot of the same question. What do you do when your teacher hates you for no reason? I just want to say that I see it, but it is a very tough question. So I'm going to save that for another video in the future once I've sort of gnawed on this idea for a while. It's a tricky topic to address. So I am not ignoring you guys. In the meantime, I will answer a different question. This is by David McCafferty, who says, "Hey Joanna, I absolutely love your videos." Thank you. I find that they apply to not only my own flute playing, but my other instruments as well. I have a suggestion / request for a future video. Could you please make a video sometime about the different types of sound you can make on your instrument? I'm talking basically about an orchestral ensemble sound versus a soloistic sound. I'm asking because I have a problem with this myself on bassoon especially. I get so many comments from colleagues and professors that my sound is in fact too soloistic and not as orchestral. By orchestral, I mean being able to blend better with other instruments and having a wider dynamic contrast / range and having an overall more mellow tone. It's just frustrating because I always do extremely well on my final juries. But when it comes to orchestra rehearsal or concerts, I sound completely separated from the rest of the ensemble in terms of tone, dynamics, etc. I guess I'm just asking how to have the best of both worlds, orchestral and soloistic, on flute or even for all orchestral woodwinds. The same applies. Thank you. In other videos, I have talked about blending and stuff like that. If you want hardcore tips on that, I made a video for my flute section back when I was the principal flutist of the San Francisco State Wind Ensemble. With regards to this whole issue about soloistic versus chamber ensemble, I find this question really interesting because I think the trends have changed since I was in music school. I started music school almost 10 years ago. It's been a while. Back then, the trend was to be more soloistic. So if you could play more soloistically, you were seen as better. That had held true for the entirety of my flute life before music school. I had sort of been raised in this notion that you need to go to solo competitions, you need to go to solo festivals, you need to win the principal chair, and all the other chairs in orchestra or in wind ensemble don't actually matter, only the principal chair matters. The weird part though was that I'm actually the opposite from you, David. I am naturally a chamber player, and I didn't know this for the longest time. There definitely were some signs though. I went to a flute camp when I was 12, I believe. It was a camp for basically middle school and high school flutists. Whoa, it is very bright. This is why I should not film past 4 o'clock. It's because of sunlight like this. I'll just be holy and full of glory. So in this camp, the emphasis was very much on masterclasses, daily student recitals, and a lot of practicing. Sort of second priority were duets and trios and basically small ensembles. And really there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just that was the trend back then in the music world. I remember for the masterclass, suffice it to say that I did not do too well in the masterclass, which was weird because I actually played that piece several times before. I knew that piece forwards and backwards and sideways. It was the third movement of the Mozart Concerto in D. You know, the one that goes da 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 bum 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 bum. I'm totally singing it completely off, but you flutists will know what I mean. And you oboists. I ended up getting extremely nervous for the masterclass. I was always kind of wondering to myself like why everyone else didn't seem as nervous as me. There was just something about playing a solo piece that freaked me out. It was this idea that I'm the only one that people are looking at when they're listening to me play. However, I noticed that at that camp, most people were actually the most nervous when it came to performing chamber ensemble stuff. I think it has to do with the fact that if you are a more soloistic player, you feel like you can't control everything when you're playing with other people. And I get that. But for me, when it came time to perform my duet, I was not nervous at all. And I couldn't even make myself nervous. I was just really looking forward to it because I really liked playing with other people on an equal level. I like the unpredictable factor. I did think that was weird. I didn't voice it out to anyone. And when we actually did perform the duet, it's customary to tune right before you perform, especially because we're sitting out for so long waiting for a turn to play. Your flute might get out of tune a little bit. So we tuned, and we were so in tune that we received applause for our tuning. That really should have been assigned to me. I should have seen it back when I was 12. That chamber music was my jam. I should have seen it, but I think the trend was so hot then that everyone wants to be that soloist that I kind of tossed this skill that I had off to the side. I know now that I love listening to other people's sound. I love playing with my sound so that it fits into theirs. It's almost like putting on someone else's clothes. It's like putting on a costume, and you're not really playing as yourself. You're playing as an extension of someone else. And I think that's really fun. Come the first year of music school, I actually got asked to join a student wind quintet. Even then, I didn't realize how unusual that was and how that should be a sign that I really am more of a chamber player. From about the first year to second year of university, as I started to learn more and more about chamber playing and I realized that I was really good at it, I kind of switched in my mind to the other extreme, which was like, chamber playing is the best and solo playing is just boring because it's just by yourself. It took me until my master's program when I started studying with Linda Lucas, who's the second flutist of the San Francisco Symphony. Linda is pretty much an older, wiser, much more experienced, much more beautiful version of me. What I learned from her during lessons was that while she and I may swing more to the side of chamber player, we also cannot ignore the skills that you need to play soloistically. For example, a couple weeks ago, Dr. Bob, my theory professor, wrote a piece for alto flute called Rebirth, and he wanted me to record it, and he was paying me to do this. It's a solo piece for alto flute. I don't consider myself the best solo player in the world, but would I really turn down a paid gig just because I am more of a chamber player? No, right? Like, when you're a musician, you need to make money and you need to have the full skill set. Through Linda, I learned how to properly learn soloistic skills from a chamber player's point of view. When you're a musician, you kind of have to put on a whole bunch of different hats, and two of those hats is soloistic player and chamber player. You will most likely be better at one than the other, but that doesn't mean that one way of playing is better than the other. It's just you're better at one thing than the other. It took until my master's to make this distinction, and I really don't want you guys to take that long to make that distinction too. I feel that now the hot trend in the music world is chamber playing. You guys may notice that there are more wind quintets out there, there are more duos out there, trios, quartets who are making a living for themselves together. That has been a rising trend in the last 10 years or so. And so I think you guys who are younger, who are middle school to high school, you guys are now growing up in this current trend where chamber playing, I think, is viewed as quote unquote better than soloistic playing. So David, in terms of wanting to learn orchestral and ensemble playing, I applaud you for wanting to learn that. Just know that you seem to have a huge strength in soloistic playing, and I would encourage you to look for things in your life to continue to develop that side so that your career is centered more around your strength. And chamber playing can be sort of that thing that you do more on the side. It's more of a second priority thing. You can do it to make money, that type of thing. I learned a lot of my soloistic playing, not only from Linda, but I actually learned a lot of it from Paul Hung. If you guys don't know, my friend Paul is an amazing soloistic player. He is so good at what he does. I learn a lot of the theatrical side of playing soloistically, how he carries himself and stuff like that, you know, just by watching him perform. I'm sure that you have a couple of friends who are really good at this chamber ensemble stuff, and all you need to do is just observe, watch them. Take notes about how they play, when do they look at other musicians. If you hear them do something amazing with their tuning or something, be like, yo, how the heck did you do that? What are you listening for? Because we're all such different players. You can learn so much from the people who are sitting around you. All I'm saying is that I think chamber players and solo players really just need to appreciate each other and learn from each other, because together we can really make this music world very interesting. Then there won't just be chamber playing and there won't just be solo playing. There'll be a mix, and I feel like we can really enrich each other. Okay, so that is it for this video. I hope I articulated this accurately. If you guys have follow-up questions, please put them in the comment section below. We can always continue the conversation in future videos. And as usual, if you like this video, make sure you give me a big thumbs up and hit subscribe for new videos every Saturday. My last video is over there. And if you want to catch me during the week, my social media network stuffs are down there. But otherwise, I will see you guys next week. Bye. The clarinetist was the one who was going to UBC, and she basically handpicked, oops, there's my boyfriend. I should tell him that I'm filming. The food was really bad. Ended up losing a lot of weight. I lost so much weight that by the end of the 10 days, my pants were literally falling off. We went on a hike together and I was pretty much just holding my pants up the entire time because they were just falling down by themselves. I did hear that the year after that though, and all the years after, they had fired that chef and had hired a new one, and then people started to get fat.